Hello and welcome. It's me, Marls44. Welcome back to another Cardfight Vanguard Cardfight area deck profile. Today's deck profile, we have the Battler that has gotten updated and is back to beat you down. Extreme Battler, Victor. So, with the release of GBT06, Victor got one hell of an update. Insanely strong deck. Super restand with, power and pressure of restanding again, and it's just disgusting and just crazy strong, crazy consistent, and insanely threatening deck. So super powerful, and it has an ability like all the other ones do. This deck now has rush ability. So yeah, anyways, our starter is Extreme Battler, Kabutron. I'll explain why we are using this starter and not the other one in a second, but first, what this card does is G-Break 1, Counterblast 1, put it in your soul. At the end of the battle, that's unit boosted. You may pay the cost if you do. Choose up to one of your other rear guards, stand it, and it gets plus 2k until on a turn. So, the cool thing about this card is, you don't have to hit. Most of the older, like even from Legion, Nova Grappler cards, it's like you have to boost and then hit. This card you don't have to hit, and it also sets up some of your abilities too, which is really, really awesome. Yeah, so that's awesome. So the reason we're not playing the other one is for a few reasons actually. For one, we really don't have any beaters except for an 11k only when he gets called out. But of course, because the other grade 0 stays forever for the restand thing, if card save column restands, you restand it. That's not very good for it. On top of the fact that the grade 2s we play are just too important, this card helps set up the deck better with the way the deck works and the way the rush ability works. And also, we have a grade 1 now who does what the old grade 0 we used to play does, if the card stands the same column, you restand it. So, really, there's no reason to play the other starter now. This starter is just a lot better for setup, and the other starter is just not as good with the way the deck works now. So, yeah, this card, very helpful. Anyways, moving on to our grade 3s, we have 4 Extreme Battler Victor for your main boss card. Beautiful. Then we have 2 Justice Messenger, Crystaldevil. So what he does is on Vanguard Circle, G-Break 1, Counterblast 1. When this unit attacks Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose up to one of your rear guards with the rush ability. Stand it, and at the end of the turn, that unit gets once per turn. At the end of the battle, that's the unit attack the Vanguard. Instead, defeat it. So pretty much, you could use this card to have a card get a minimum. You can use that skill to have a card get a minimum of 3 attacks. Without any other abilities of restanding, but yeah, still minimum of 3 attacks. This other skill is auto counterblast 1, soul blast 1. When this unit is placed on Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose up to one of your rear guards, and at the end of the turn, it gets once per turn. At the end of the battle, this unit attack the Vanguard, stand this unit, and it gets plus 50k until the end of the turn. So that's pretty handy too. I mean, similar, except for the difference is, it gets plus 2k and it doesn't get a second restand, but still, it's pretty threatening. This card pretty much takes up Victor's place. This card is the back of Vanguard. Now, we're running 2 of it because there's another card we can run. I will say this now, if you don't want to run the other card because you feel you don't need it, play 4 of this card. Play 4 Crystaldevil, because this is your backup Vanguard. This is the awesome backup Vanguard for this deck. The other card is pretty much to help you out pressure-wise more for rear guard when you get the chance, because most of the time you do ride Victor. So that is all up to you. But for me, I run 2 Extreme Battler Danshark. So as I said, you don't have to run this. You can run 4 Crystaldevil. But what this card does is rush ability. What the rush ability is basically is the rush ability is when this unit stands due to the effect from one of your cards until end of turn, this unit gets an ability. So it gets the ability that it states. So G-Break 1, rush ability. Counterblast 1, when this unit attack hits a Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose up to one of your opponent's rear guards with the power less than or equal to this unit's power and retire it. And then its other skills, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1 when it's placed on Vanguard. If If you pay the cost, check top 5 cards, add a card with rush ability to your hand, put the rest back in your deck. Shuffle. So pretty much he's there for his G-Break 1 ability. His, other skill is okay, but he's pretty much there for his rush ability, his G-Break 1 ability, whatever you want to call it. Because of the fact that it's just super pressure heavy with how much you get to restand and stuff, and you can actually retire a lot of your opponent's cards because of that. So depending on what you're going for, like what you have, if you get to play this card, there's one card that does a bunch of restanding, but this card will do a bunch of retiring pressure. The one does a bunch of restanding pressure, the other one does a bunch of retiring pressure, and basically because of that, they're your two main focus cards, and that's actually why I play 2 of these cards as well, is just because of the fact that it's just so strong with that. Of course, you only really call it if you get to, and you have other grade 3s or stride enablers to do that. But it is very, very threatening when you get the chance to, and as I said, most of the time you'll be riding one of the other 2 anyways. 80% of the time you ride Victor, so you only need the other one, Crystaldevil, the other 20%. And this card, as I said, isn't terrible as a Vanguard, but it's definitely much better as a rear guard. But yeah, so you can run 4 Crystaldevil if you want, but I feel like this lineup works so much better because of the fact it helps out with pressuring when you get the chance, which is really, really big. And you get the chance a little more often than you think you do, because I thought you'd get less, but then I realized it's not as little as you think. Anyways, on to our grade 2. So we have 4 White Hank for these babies, super strong. Then 4 Master Kungfu. What he does is he has the rush ability, G-Break 1 when it's that's what the rush ability does. Counterblast 1 when this unit attacks, hits a Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose up to one of your other rear cards, stand it, and that unit gets plus 5k until end of turn. So this card is your main focus card. As I said, for restanding, this card and the Danshark card that I showed you, they're both your main focus. This card will can restand other columns and pressure a lot. And on top of the fact that yeah, this card, that's what this card does, and your other card's more like, okay, we're gonna swing and pressure a lot with being able to retire. So most of the time you aim for stuff like this, but the other one's very helpful. Super helpful, especially for how much pressure you put on. The retiring is just so big. Anyways, I'm going to explain some combos with this guy, but first we need to look at the other card. So what this card does, Extreme Battler Arbarail, 3 of them. What it does is G-Break 1, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1 when this unit is placed on a rear guard. If you have a Vanguard with Victor in its card name, pay the cost. If you do, until end of turn, this unit gets power plus 2k, and once per turn when this unit attacks, a Vanguard, choose up to one of your other rear guards, stand it, and that unit gets plus 5k until end of turn. Okay, so this these combos that this deck can do is actually really terrifying. I'm going to get into the detail once we look at a certain grade 1, because that's, you kind of need to know that card too, before we can get into how it works, how the setups work, and everything. So we're going to move on to grade 1s first, but this card's super helpful for just, doing what White Hank does as well, and being a nice beater when you need it, and just, yeah, all the decks use cards like this too, just very, very handy. Only need 3 of them though. 4 is too much. Anyways, moving on to our grade 1s, we have 4 Lady Cyclone, damage on Flipper P-Guard, and then 4 Stride Enablers, your Extreme Battler Arashid, and then we have 3 Rajadamnern Kid. What it does is when your other unit with a rush ability in the same column as this unit stand due to an effect from one of your cards, you stand this unit. So they do have to have the rush ability. So this card's pretty much played in the same column as Danshark and Master Kungfu. He's always played in that column, and in the other column, you have a different card for it, which I'll show you in a second. But this card's just mainly for that column. Really no other column for it, unless you have 2 Master Kungfus, which could be pretty scary, yeah. But most of the time, you just have this in one column. Anyways, and then we also have 3 Extreme Battler Malyaki, so he's, the other card you'll have in the other column. What he does is G-Break 1 if you have Vanguard with Victor in his card name. All of your other units, the same column. This unit get Rush Auto. When this unit stand due to the effect from one of your cards, till on a turn, this unit gets Auto. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, choose up to 2 of your units. They get plus 4k until end of turn. So, okay, let's start off with the combo. So, this card is in your right column, along with Arbarail, sorry, not Abigail, Arbarail or White Hank. It could be with either or. And then you have Rajadamnern Kid, along with Master Kungfu in the left column. And you stride your, I don't know, your, first starting one that, if it hits, you restand something with 5k or whatever. So you stride that card, right? Alright. Let's go. So, first off, Master Kungfu gets boosted, attacks. Okay. Now, Arbarail or White Hank get boosted. We're just gonna say it's White Hank, okay? It's easier. So White Hank gets boosted. He counterblasts. And he restands Master Kungfu along with the card behind it because Master Kungfu stood. Because it's grade 1 restander, right? Alright, so cool. That happened. And he has a 5k power up. Awesome. So he swings. If it hits or not, that's not important. Now Master Kungfu attacks with the boost again. So now this time, your opponent's kind of forced to guard. Or else you get to stand the column with White Hank. And the thing is, if you stand the column with White Hank, if we look back to Malyaki, if it stands, when White Hank attacks again, you could basically power up Master Kungfu and the other card by 4k each. So you could basically get an 8k power up. So let's say you didn't hit. Anyways, that means now your Vanguard attacks. Okay, so Victor's skill. Restand Master Kungfu and restand your grade 1 restander because of that. And let's say your stride unit hits. Restand White Hank with an extra 2k. Oh look, Malyaki's skill. So White Hank swings it with 11. Oh, look. White Hank swings. Malyaki gives 8k to your other column. 4 to Kungfu, 4 to your grade 1 restander. Okay, now they swing. If they hit, they're going to restand White Hank with an extra 5k. And yeah, if they don't hit, they don't hit. But they have a hell of a lot of power now. Because they got an extra 5k from Victor, on top of the fact that 8k, so that's a good 18k extra. And their standard is 16, so they're at 34. Oh, wow, that's hell of a column, huh? On top of the fact that, sorry about that voice crack, on top of the fact that what if your Vanguard was the restanding one? Now your Vanguard gets to attack again. Boom. And as I said, this card hits, you counterblast, power plus White Hank. And if you already did that earlier, that means White Hank would be at 21. Right? So, like, oh my god, this deck has so much pressure. And that's pretty much what I mean. It's just the combos you can do with it and the power-ups is ridiculous. Like, that is nuts. You should not be able to do that. That's like Aquaforce stuff right there. But, I mean, they both do the same thing about restanding columns, except for Aquaforce is like, okay, let's switch people and get little attacks, but lots of little attacks. So, this Nova Grappler for you. Anyways, let's move on to the triggers. So we have 4 Extreme Battler, Danshark. What he does is put this unit in your soul when your Vanguard attacks. If you have Vanguard with Victor in card name, pay the cost. If you do, draw a card, choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets plus 5k until end of the battle. And then we have 4 Red Lightning, damage on flipper, crit. You do need this more than you think, because it's actually really important. So, 8 crit. So, 4 Totem Brothers, 4 draw. Very helpful, because, Yeah, and then 4 Ring Girl I, so 4 heal. So pretty standard trigger lineup. 8 crit, 4 draw, 4 heal. You need the draw to get to your cards and everything. Like, the draw is super important. Anyways, on to our Stride units. 4 Meteokaiser Victor. So what he does, choose a face-down card named this card from your G-Zone, turn it face up, till end of turn. Gets, when this unit attacks a Vanguard, choose up to 1 of your rearguards, and it gets power plus 5,000 until end of turn. Stand it, and it gets power plus 5,000 until end of turn. And Auto Vanguard, G-Break 3, when this unit attacks a Vanguard, choose up to 1 of your rearguards. Stand it, it gets power plus 5,000 until end of turn. So basically, you could reset a couple columns again. On top of the fact that with Victors, you know, and you can restand Yaki and give it plus 5 as well. So it's like you can have 2 like full-blown columns again. It just powers it up a bit more, and I don't know, it just makes it so much scarier because this guarantees that what I said to you, even if you don't hit any of the Kung Fus, it guarantees all those attacks I said to you is like guaranteed with this card, pretty much. Yeah, it's guaranteed with this card. Which is kind of also why I run crits, because it's like it's guaranteed with this card too. And you get to restand both columns, right? So it's like you can use the crits, and because of that, this card, it's also why I prefer the crits for this deck. This on top of the restanding Vanguard, this card's like, okay, you go with this card. This card's normally like your second Stride unit anyways, but you go with this card and you get all the setups, and then, you know, your columns are standing, full columns are standing, so you can't restand anything useful anyways. So yeah, that's more the reason why I play crit. So he's just super strong comboing with the deck and what you already do. And then we have 2 Meteokaiser Victoplasma, so you're restanding Vanguard just for finishing games, pretty much, if your other one can't finish it, because the other one has so much setups, and it works so well with the setups and everything, so, you know, 2 Victoplasma because of that. And then 1 of your starting Vanguard, Meteokaiser Vic-Ten. Your starting Vanguard, as I said, you know, if it hits, you stand something with plus 5. And then 1 Meteokaiser Tribrut, only when you really need it. Like, this card's in your back pocket for, you know, it's more conditionary for your starting Vanguard. But most of the time you'll be using Vic-Ten. This card's just there in case you need a situational card. So, anyways, thank you guys for joining me in this deck profile. Sorry it was a little long, but yeah, just so strong deck. I had to explain that combo because it's like the main thing for this deck. And remember, Danshark can be used instead of Master Kungfu, so you can basically pressure with retiring, but the combo does work a little better with Master Kungfu because of the restanding thing. So, anyways, thank you guys for joining me in this part. Deck list will be in the description below as always. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys next time.